Here we are today at the upper Bristlecone Pine Trailhead, and we have not taken this trail before. Looks like a pretty easy trail. We'll see. This is a light day. Have had a lot of pretty heavy days, and they've all accumulated, and it's time for a light day, and I've been looking forward to trying this Bristlecone Pine Trail. So there's Lee Peak in the center. And then at some time, we're in Lee Canyon. At some time, we're going to try getting to the top of this ridge, where there's the old abandoned ski tower and the North Loop Trail, and then take a right and head up to Lee Peak. Another route here, you're looking at Mummy Mountain. We've been up on top of Mummy Mountain, and we've actually taken this entire ridge over to Lee Peak. And you can see that on the 4-peak circuit day. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and try the upper Bristlecone Pine Trail and just see what we can see. Well, here we are where I ended last week, or at least where I took off to the left up this avalanche ridge. Today though, we're doing the Bristlecone Pine Trail, so we're going to continue straight. I hear this is a 6-mile experience. Very beautiful trail, and as you can see, the aspen are turning yellow and creating some beautiful scenery here. So here we go, continuing on up the Bristlecone Pine Trail. Okay, we've broken out into the opening on the Bristlecone Pine Trail, and now can see Lee Peak, and then in the sun, the ridge between Lee Peak and Mummy Mountain. And there's Mummy Mountain. And here's what it looks like continuing up this Bristlecone Pine Trail. Very beautiful. And actually, we are seeing, I believe this is a fir tree. You can tell I'm not a botanist. And there's a bristlecone pine among the first bristlecone pine trees, which means that we are probably at close to 9,000 feet. So there's our 360-degree view. And it's a pretty nice trail, actually. Okay, onward and up and aroundward. Okay, we're at a high point here, just above the Bristlecone Pine Trail, which is right down there. Thought I'd come up to this area, take a 360-degree view. And here is another ridge there. We'll find out what all these ridges are. And then you can see, if you look carefully, you can see the Bristlecone Pine Trail circling around in that area and continuing on down. And here's another place where you see that trail. We'll be there in a few minutes. And we don't know what this little peak is. I'm sure it has a name. We'll find out. And there we are looking down Lee Canyon. And you can see the Sheep Mountain Range, which we will be exploring this winter. Okay, and here's Mummy Mountain, looking into the sunrise now, so it's probably not a really fantastic view. Love the the way the ancient trees turn into almost driftwood. If you were on the coast, you would call this driftwood. And they get their weathering up here, the blasting cold and snow of winter. There is Lee Peak. And by the way, we'll take a look at the Lee Peak approach from Lee Canyon. And I'm thinking it's going to be, wow, it looks like there's a ski area down here. And that would be the ski area on the left as you're going up. And maybe take a left at that point, and perhaps you see an avalanche ridge. Maybe skirt that avalanche ridge to the left where the trees are, and it looks a little more gradual. And then it looks like you could almost head up a ridge there. And the goal is, of course, hitting the top of the there we go, the top of this ridge, either right here or down in this area a little bit. Somewhere in that area there is that abandoned ski tower that's only 100 feet from the upper North Loop Trail on the Kyle Canyon side. So we'll take a look at that. And of course we have done the ridge from Mummy Mountain over here over to, well, all the way up to Lee Peak. Once you get on this upper ridge, it's a pretty easy trail to Lee Peak, which is right here. So there's pretty much the perspective, and we may explore this coming winter, which is right now first weekend in October. So there's only about a month left, if even that, to get up in that area. I'm thinking I may try to get up there next weekend from Trail Canyon Trailhead and take the North Loop, take Trail Canyon Trailhead up to the North Loop Trail, and then find that ski tower and just explore what a downhill would look like from that ski tower. So lots of things to explore and different routes, but I would like to find a route up to Lee Canyon, up to Lee Peak from Lee Canyon down in this area. Okay, onward. Okay, beginning to loop around at this point, and looks like the trail is going to loop around down to this area. Now it looks like it might be a good little running trail at that point. There's been a few rocks up to this point, so you may not be able to run the whole thing, but it looks like some parts of this trail would make some excellent trail running. Okay, and there we're looking into the sun again, Mummy Mountain. So this is the view of where we are. Bristlecone pine tree right up here. And now we begin to loop around and down. Here's a marker. And looks like the lower Bristlecone Pine Trail is 3 miles. 2 miles to the upper Bristlecone Pine Trail. And probably 3 miles to that trailhead, the lower Bristlecone Pine Trail. What that means is that there's probably another mile, mile and a half after that to get back to the parking lot. And we'll check that out. And here is the Bonanza Trailhead. And I'm not sure where that goes. We'll check a map out at some point. Looks like it's 13 miles. So we'll just see where that leads. That'll be another adventure. And oh, here's a little marker or a little display. Okay, so let's get a 360-degree view. Here you have Mummy Mountain and the ridge between Mummy Mountain and Lee Peak. And here we have Lee Peak. And then this way proceeds on up to the upper Bristlecone Pine Trailhead. Looks like all of my adventure today so far has been 2 miles, but it's downhill the rest of the way. And nursing this little left knee injury. Hopefully it's just going to be another 1 week experience depending on how I treat it. Okay. And there we are, and here's the ski area. You can see a little bit of a view. I can't see it in this light, looking into the sun, making it hard on the on this camera view here. But there you have it. Here is the 360-degree view. It is a beautiful little trail. Bristlecone Pine Trail. And by the way, we've got a nice little fire road all the way back. So this next 3 miles is going to be should be fairly gradual downhill and along this fire road, and then hit the lower Bristlecone Pine Trail. Well, here we are on the North Loop. I mean, not North Loop, on the Bristlecone Pine Trail, heading down the fire road from the upper Bristlecone Pine Trail to the lower Bristlecone Pine Trail. And here's a 360-degree view. There's Mummy Mountain, the ridge up to Lee Peak, and then just looking up the lower Bristlecone Pine Trail fire road. So that's pretty much where we are right now, heading down that fire road. Here we go. Continuing on to the lower Bristlecone Pine Trailhead, and we've been looking at this little rock as a potential side excursion at some point. And it looks like, here I'm looking up the fire road. It looks like there's a potential approach to that rock where those people were standing, and continues perhaps on along this ridge, and then around to the ridge in the background. And it looks like it's not a difficult climb, right up between those two rocky outcrops. So we will attempt that at some point. That'll be another adventure. And this is the look back down the fire road toward the lower Bristlecone Pine Trailhead, continuing on down. Quick view of that rocky outcrop up there, and we'll have a name for it soon. Okay, and here's a ridge that I believe would connect with this lower Bristlecone Pine Trail. we're on the fire road, and then take that ridge over to that outcrop, and around the left side there's what looks like an easy approach. You can't see it from here, but it looks doable. And then continuing around here, here is Mummy Mountain, and you can see the fall aspens in beautiful yellow. Here's the fire road heading back down to the lower Bristlecone Pine Trailhead. Okay, we've arrived at the lower Bristlecone Pine Trailhead, and if I were to do this as a loop, what I would do is you could park your car down here and then go up the main road, which is right down in this area, not too far from this trailhead, up the main road to the upper trailhead, then take the upper trailhead around. Another way would be to park your car at the upper trailhead and then come down here to the lower trailhead and then take this on up. Now, I'm not sure exactly which way seems the best, but either one of those would work. I actually parked at the upper trailhead, so I'll be going up the main road just a little bit. Okay, that pretty much almost covers this loop. We just have the road going back up to the upper Bristlecone Pine Trailhead. Heading up the road now to the upper Bristlecone Pine Trailhead. Okay, another route is beginning to formulate itself that would land us from Lee Canyon up to Lee Peak without going up any avalanche slopes. Now that's of tall order, but it looks like if I parked at the lower Bristlecone Pine Trail, and then you see here's Mummy Mountain. At the base of Mummy Mountain here, there is a ridge that begins to ascend. I'm following that ridge right now. It's in the foreground. There's another ridge in the background, but you can see we follow that ridge in the foreground all the way up to that high point right up here. Now, from that point, or close to that point, we will either be at that upper ski tower or very close to the upper abandoned ski tower. I think I might have to jog a little to the left rather than go straight up to that, the top of that little ridge. And there's a ridge in the background. That's the ridge we need to hit. And I think that's where we're going to find that abandoned ski tower. So that is a way that I think would actually be more gradual and could potentially save a lot of time and trouble in trying to navigate a wash, a rocky tree, fallen tree wash. So I may try that at some point. Okay, anyway, here we are back at the upper Bristlecone Pine Trailhead, and this is the end of our journey for today. So we've done the upper and lower Bristlecone Loop Trail, about a 6-mile round trip.